No, what I'm saying is like, don't you believe in a heaven that you'd like to go to?
Well, yes, but I will still make your people miserable.
Oh, so you're only here to make me miserable.
Mm-hmm.
That brings
And
me
it
to my
helps.
face.
Okay, cool. See, that's how I helped you. And what race are you?
Human race.
No, you're not. If you're not white,
Okay,
you're
I'm
not
a dog.
No, that's the worst kind.
Okay, I'm a pussy.
Oh, you said a dog. Oh, I thought you said a dot. Like a dot Indian.
Oh. Did you guys ever
Like what?
have this lingering feeling go away where you're just like always under constant stress?
Yeah, that's normal. You
Is
will,
that
you will
just
get
something
used
that
to
sticks with you?
No, you get
It never
used to
goes
it.
away.
Sometimes it does. It's periodic. Sometimes it comes and goes. You'll feel better when you get older. You'll get used to it.
Okay, so the help I wanted to ask for was I am violently obsessed with something or someone, and how do I get rid of this obsession feeling?
Just indulge.
Everybody said that the person that I like is only enabling me to do some crazy shit, and I should walk away.
What kind of crazy shit is this woman enabling you to do?
Sounds like you're a simp, then you should stop that.
Yeah, this sounds
Well, I met
simple.
her in a psych ward, and we were like doing like really fun stuff.
Okay, well, go back then.
I went back. I wasted 1 year of my life and went to the even more secure one, and I didn't find her. And I literally cried a little bit because I just realized I wasted a lot of my time for no reason.
And now you're wasting our time with your wasted time. Let's not waste our time.
You guys are old. You guys are supposed to give me like good advice.
Hello.
Okay, well, stop talking.
Become gay.
Become gay, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did.
Dan,
terrible advice.
That's Good Morning Show by Abby.
Danny, what's up with that giant joint in your mouth? Jeez.
You know, from far away, you kind of look like my mom, which is annoying me.
What?
My mom will never do that.
I think I'm so
Not you.
I look like your mom?
Yeah, from like far away. If I zoom in, then no.
Motherfucker.
So, Stomp, did we help solve all your queries and conundrums?
I expected some Dr. Phil advice, but I guess not. But I should be okay with that. So I guess so, yeah.
Okay, good. Just stop thinking and end all your problems.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're thinking about everything. That's the problem. That's what I keep telling Danny. She's got it made and she doesn't even know it.
I don't have it made. I don't really like this picture at all. I hate the way I look in this picture.
Oh my god, look at the hallway. So funny, Adrian.
Thanks.
You know, yesterday the guy that thought
Is your name Adrian too?
Yeah. This is the Adrian.
I should have my own show, guys.
You should. Well, you do right now in my house. Congratulations.
I'm very excited. Hi, everyone. Look at this picture of me that I don't really like. I'm going to get Botox and plastic surgery so I could be a real banger.
You guys are also live on YouTube. There's about 10 people watching us. They're all screaming at me.
Oh, hi, Nora.
They're all calling me.
Hi, 10 people on YouTube. Will you please cash at me so I could fix my face? Thank you.
They're all upset because I have the Israeli flag in the background. Triggers everyone all the time. I love it.
I love that.
Somebody says they want to send you $4, only $4.
Can you make it 18?
How can Anony Moose give you the $4, Danny? Buymeacupofcoffee.com/Danny needs money, please.
Oh, that's the new Cash App.
Who the hell?
Do you send them here so they could talk to
Cash App
us?
for civilized people.
Like, do you give them the link here? Maybe that will help you. Like, if you like link them up to here too.
Sorry. I'm trying to see if I have any voicemails.
I love when the birds start chirping. It's like a different way when the season is transitioning to spring.
New message. Yes, no, it's princess. Princess.
Oh no, is that Hillary?
Mm-hmm.
She's calling you?
I wanted to tell you, I like the
Hillary,
title
come
of the
online, you fucking
thing.
bitch.
It's hysterical. I'm shaking. Oh, I'm getting quite popular on Blue Sky. I don't know why. But it's so much easier. Like on Insta than Insta, like rebuilding my upload account. Yeah, what's hell? Thanks to Elon.
I'm just
Message
deleting.
marked for deletion. New message. Message marked for deletion. New message. Yo, brother, yeah, call me back. It's just snowing here and I'm not doing anything. All right, talk to you later. Bye. Message marked for deletion. New message. Message marked for deletion. New
Have
message.
you ever gotten like something embarrassing, like a phone call, like that you played on live?
I ask you if you're living training. Please let me know. Message marked for
No.
deletion.
Yeah.
New message.
Hey, big guy, remember me from the bar yesterday? You ever get like a message like that?
Yeah. That was my third and final try at Clown House, so it's done.
Damn, they deleted him?
To replay this message marked for deletion. New message. Hi, Johnny. That message is very nice. Sorry I didn't want to get out of the bed last night. I
this is your mom.
to relax. But thank you for calling. Would have liked to have
Aw.
chatted.
She's so
Just
cute.
a little bit of a setback on selection of materials today. Message marked for deletion. New message.
Hi, this is Kenneth from Legal Talk. I'm just calling in to reschedule.
Message marked for deletion. There are no more messages.
Okay, great. Somebody wrote, "Are you going through your voicemail? What's wrong with your face?"
Maybe they want to listen to Diego Mora.
Oh, Diego. Okay, I'm gonna end the Good Morning Show by Danny because she decided to leave us.
Yeah, she will come in again like in a bit.
Oh, you think so?
It's a TV show that's like every 10 minutes there's like a half an hour commercial.
Mm.
Let's make some coffee.
Elon Musk suspended one of my X accounts again.
Really? Well, somebody recorded the whole Adrian Bittman Nick Fuentes thing. Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I listened to it.
What do you
I
think?
listened to it last night. I mean, I was clipping the whole thing. I recorded the whole thing too, but it seems like damage.
Put it on X.
It seems like damage control.
Well, who is damage controlling who?
Both of them, really, because Nick kept saying
I
that
have
he
no
loves
idea what
Jews.
they talked about, so you have to give me context.
Also, Okay, I'm going to play a quick audiobook and go make my coffee.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
I'm going to play
For more
Diogenes.
information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.
You will not know your viewers.
The Enchiridion, by Elizabeth Carter. 1. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, demand, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions. The things in our control are by nature free, unrestrained, unhindered. But those not in our control are weak, slavish, restrained, belonging to others. Remember then, that if you suppose that things which are slavish by nature are also free, and that what belongs to others is your own, then you will be hindered. You will lament, you will be disturbed, and you will find fault both with gods and men. But if you suppose that only to be your own, which is your own, and what belongs to others such as it really is, then no one will ever compel you or restrain you. Further, you will find fault with no one or accuse no one. You will do nothing against your will. No one will hurt you, you will have no enemies, and you will not be harmed. Aiming, therefore, at such great things, remember that you must not allow yourself to be carried even with a slight tendency towards the attainment of lesser things. Instead, you must entirely quit some things, and for the present postpone the rest. But if you would both have these great things along with power and riches, then you will not gain even the latter, because you aim at the former too. But you will absolutely fail of the former, by which alone happiness and freedom are achieved. Work, therefore, to be able to say to every harsh appearance, you are but an appearance, and not absolutely the thing you appear to be. And then, examine it by those rules which you have, and first and chiefly by this, whether it concerns the things which are in our control, or those which are not. And if it concerns anything not in our control, be prepared to say that it is nothing to you. 2. Remember that following desire promises the attainment of that of which you are desirous, and aversion promises the avoiding that to which you are averse. However, he who fails to obtain the object of his desire is disappointed, and he who incurs the object of his aversion, wretched. If, then, you confine your aversion to those objects only which are contrary to the natural use of your faculties, which you have in your own control, you will never incur anything to which you are averse. But if you are averse to sickness or death or poverty, you will be wretched. Remove aversion, then, from all things that are not in our control, and transfer it to things contrary to the nature of what is in our control. But, for the present, totally suppress desire. For, if you desire any of the things which are not in your own control, you must necessarily be disappointed, and of those which are, and which it would be laudable to desire, nothing is yet in your possession. Use only the appropriate actions of pursuit and avoidance, and even these lightly, and with gentleness and reservation. 3. With regard to whatever objects give you delight, are useful, or are deeply loved, remember to tell yourself of what general nature they are, beginning from the most insignificant things. If, for example, you are fond of a specific ceramic cup, remind yourself that it is only ceramic cups in general of which you are fond. Then, if it breaks, you will not be disturbed. If you kiss your child or your wife, say that you only kiss things which are human, and thus you will not be disturbed if either of them dies. 4. When you are going about any action, remind yourself what nature the action is. If you are going to bathe, picture to yourself the things which usually happen in the bath. Some people splash the water, some push, some use abusive language, and others steal. Thus, you will more safely go about this action if you say to yourself, I will now go bathe and keep my own mind in a state conformable to nature, and in the same manner with regard to every other action. For thus, if any hindrance arises in bathing, you will have it ready to say, it was not only to bathe that I desired, but to keep my mind in a state conformable to nature, and I will not keep it if I'm bothered at such things that happen. 5. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Death, for instance, is not terrible, else it would have appeared so to Socrates. But the terror consists in our notion of death, that it is terrible. When, therefore, we are hindered or disturbed or grieved, let us never attribute it to others, but to ourselves, that is, to our own principles. An uninstructed person will lay the fault of his own bad condition upon others. Someone just starting instruction will lay the fault on himself. Someone who is perfectly instructed will place blame neither on others nor on himself. 6. Don't be prideful with any excellence that is not your own. If a horse should be prideful and say, I am handsome, it would be supportable. But when you are prideful and say, I have a handsome horse, know that you are proud of what is, in fact, only the good of the horse. What then is your own? Only your reaction to the appearances of things. Thus, when you behave conformably to nature in reaction to how things appear, you will be proud with reason, for you will take pride in some good of your own. 7. Consider when, on a voyage, your ship is anchored. If you go on shore to get water, you may along the way amuse yourself with picking up a shellfish or an onion. However, your thoughts and continual attention ought to be bent towards the ship, waiting for the captain to call on board. You must then immediately leave all these things, otherwise you'll be thrown into the ship, bound neck and feet like a sheep. So it is with life. If, instead of an onion or a shellfish, you are given a wife or child, that is fine. But if the captain calls, you must run to the ship, leaving them and regarding none of them. But if you are old, never go far from the ship, lest, when you are called, you should be unable to come in time. 8. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. 9. Sickness is a hindrance to the body, but not to your ability to choose, unless that is your choice. Lameness is a hindrance to the leg, but not to your ability to choose. Say this to yourself with regard to everything that happens. Then you will see such obstacles as hindrances to something else, but not to yourself. 10. With every accident, ask yourself what abilities you have for making a proper use of it. If you see an attractive person, you will find that self-restraint is the ability you have against your desire. If you are in pain, you will find fortitude. If you hear unpleasant language, you will find patience. And thus habituated, the appearances of things will not hurry you away along with them. 11. Never say of anything, I have lost it, but I have returned it. Is your child dead? It is returned. Is your wife dead? She is returned. Is your estate taken away? Well, and is not that likewise returned? But he who took it away is a bad man. What difference is it to you who the giver assigns to take it back? While he gives it to you to possess, take care of it, but don't view it as your own, just as travelers view a hotel. 12. If you want to improve, reject such reasonings as these. If I neglect my affairs, I'll have no income. If I don't correct my servant, he will be bad. For it is better to die with hunger, exempt from grief and fear, than to live in affluence with perturbation. And it is better your servant should be bad than you unhappy. Begin, therefore, from little things. Is a little oil spilt, a little wine stolen? Say to yourself, this is the price paid for apathy, for tranquility, and nothing is to be had for nothing. When you call your servant, it is possible that he may not come, or if he does, he may not do what you want. But he is by no means of such importance that it should be in his power to give you any disturbance. 13. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything, and even if you appear to be somebody important to others, distrust yourself, for it is difficult to both keep your faculty of choice in a state conformable to nature and at the same time acquire external things. But while you are careful about the one, you must of necessity neglect the other. 14. If you wish your children and your wife and your friends to live forever, you are stupid, for you wish to be in control of things which you cannot. You wish for things that belong to others to be your own. So likewise, if you wish your servant to be without fault, you are a fool, for you wish vice not to be vice, but something else. But if you wish to have your desires undisappointed, this is in your own control. Exercise, therefore, what is in your control. He is the master of every other person who is able to confer or remove whatever that person wishes either to have or to avoid. Whoever then would be free, let him wish nothing, let him decline nothing which depends on others, else he must necessarily be a slave. 15. Remember that you must behave in life as at a dinner party. Is anything brought around to you? Put out your hand and take your share with moderation. Does it pass by you? Don't stop it. Is it not yet come? Don't stretch your desire towards it, but wait till it reaches you. Do this with regard to children, to a wife, to public posts, to riches, and you will eventually be a worthy partner of the feasts of the gods. And if you don't even take the things which are set before you, but are able even to reject them, then you will not only be a partner at the feasts of the gods, but also of their empire. For by doing this, Diogenes, Heraclitus, and others like them deservedly became and were called divine. 16. When you see anyone weeping in grief because his son has gone abroad, or is dead, or because he has suffered in his affairs, be careful that the appearance may not misdirect you. Instead, distinguish within your own mind and be prepared to say, it's not the accident that distresses this person, because it doesn't distress another person. It is the judgment which he makes about it. As far as words go, however, don't reduce yourself to his level, and certainly do not moan with him. Do not moan inwardly either. 17. Remember that you are an actor in a drama, of such a kind as the author pleases to make it. If short, of a short one. If long, of a long one. If it is his pleasure you should act a poor man, a cripple, a governor, or a private person, see that you act it naturally, for this is your business, to act well the character assigned to you. To choose it is another's. 18. When a raven happens to croak unluckily, don't allow the appearance hurry you away with it, but immediately make the distinction to yourself and say, none of these things are foretold to me, but either to my paltry body or property or reputation or children or wife. But to me, all omens are lucky, if I will. For whichever of these things happens, it is in my control to derive advantage from it. 19. You may be unconquerable if you enter into no combat in which it is not in your own control to conquer. When, therefore, you see anyone eminent in honors or power or in high esteem on any other account, take heed not to be hurried away with the appearance and to pronounce him happy. For if the essence of good consists in things in our own control, there will be no room for envy or emulation. But for your part, don't wish to be a general or a senator or a consul, but to be free. And the only way to do this is a contempt of things not in our own control. 20. Remember that not he who gives ill language or a blow insults, but the principle which represents these things as insulting. When, therefore, anyone provokes you, be assured that it is your own opinion which provokes you. Try, therefore, in the first place, not to be hurried away with the appearance, for if you once gain time and respite, you will more easily command yourself. 21. Let death and exile and all other things which appear terrible be daily before your eyes, but chiefly death, and you will never entertain any abject thought, nor too eagerly covet anything. 22. If you have an earnest desire of attaining to philosophy, prepare yourself from the very first to be laughed at, to be sneered by the multitude, to hear them say, he has returned to us a philosopher all at once, and whence this supercilious look? Now, for your own part, don't have a supercilious look indeed, but keep steadily to those things which appear best to you, as one appointed by God to this station. For remember that, if you adhere to the same point, those very persons who at first ridiculed will afterwards admire you. But if you are conquered by them, you will incur a double ridicule. 23. If you ever happen to turn your attention to externals, so as to wish to please anyone, be assured that you have ruined your scheme of life. Be contented, then, in everything with being a philosopher. And, if you wish to be thought so likewise by anyone, appear so to yourself, and it will suffice you. 24. Don't allow such considerations as these distress you. I will live in dishonor and be nobody anywhere. For if dishonor is an evil, you can no more be involved in any evil by the means of another than be engaged in anything base. Is it any business of yours, then, to get power, or to be admitted to an entertainment? By no means. How, then, after all, is this a dishonor? And how is it true that you will be nobody anywhere, when you ought to be somebody in those things only which are in your own control, in which you may be of the greatest consequence? But my friends will be unassisted. What do you mean by unassisted? They will not have money from you, nor will you make them Roman citizens. Who told you then that these are among the things in our own control and not the affair of others? And who can give to another the things which he has not himself? Well, but get them then, that we too may have a share. If I can get them with the preservation of my own honor and fidelity and greatness of mind, show me the way, and I will get them. But if you require me to lose my own proper good, that you may gain what is not good, consider how inequitable and foolish you are. Besides, which would you rather have, a sum of money or a friend of fidelity and honor? Rather assist me then to gain this character than require me to do those things by which I might lose it. Well, but my country, say you, as far as depends on me, will be unassisted. Here again, what assistance is this you mean? It will not have porticos nor baths of your providing. And what signifies that? Why, neither does a smith provide it with shoes, or a shoemaker with arms. It is enough if everyone fully performs his own proper business. And were you to supply it with another citizen of honor and fidelity, would not he be of use to it? Yes. Therefore, neither are you yourself useless to it. What place then, say you, will I hold in the state? Whatever you can hold with the preservation of your fidelity and honor. But if by desiring to be useful to that, you lose these, of what use can you be to your country when you are become faithless and void of shame? 25. Is anyone preferred before you at an entertainment, or in a compliment, or in being admitted to a consultation? If these things are good, you ought to be glad that he has gotten them. And if they are evil, don't be grieved that you have not gotten them. And remember that you cannot, without using the same means which others do, to acquire things not in our control, expect to be thought worthy of an equal share of them. For how can he who does not frequent the door of any great man, does not attend him, does not praise him, have an equal share with him who does? You are unjust then, and insatiable, if you are unwilling to pay the price for which these things are sold, and would have them for nothing. For how much is lettuce sold? 50 cents, for instance. If another then, paying 50 cents, takes the lettuce, and you, not paying it, go without them, don't imagine that he has gained any advantage over you. For as he has the lettuce, so you have the 50 cents which you did not give. So, in the present case, you have not been invited to such a person's entertainment, because you have not paid him the price for which a supper is sold. It is sold for praise. It is sold for attendance. Give him then the value, if it is for your advantage. But if you would at the same time not pay the one and yet receive the other, you are insatiable and a blockhead. Have you nothing then instead of the supper? Yes, indeed you have. The not praising him whom you don't like to praise. The not bearing with his behavior at coming in. 26. The will of nature may be learned from those things in which we don't distinguish from one another. For example, when our neighbor's boy breaks a cup or the like, we are presently ready to say, these things will happen.
This book is called Epictetus the Enchiridion.
Be assured then, that when your own cup likewise is broken, you ought to be affected just as when another's cup was broken. Apply this in like manner to greater things. Is the child or wife of another dead? There is no one who would not say, this is a human accident. But if anyone's own child happens to die, it is presently, alas, how wretched am I? But it should be remembered how we are affected in hearing the same thing concerning others. 27. As a mark is not set up for the sake of missing the aim, so neither does the nature of evil exist in the world. 28. If a person gave your body to any stranger he met on his way, you would certainly be angry. And do you feel no shame in handing over your own mind to be confused and mystified by anyone who happens to verbally attack you? 29. In every affair, consider what precedes and follows, and then undertake it. Otherwise, you will begin with spirit, but not having thought of the consequences, when some of them appear, you will shamefully desist. I would conquer at the Olympic Games, but consider what precedes and follows, and then, if it is to your advantage, engage in the affair. You must conform to rules, submit to a diet, refrain from dainties, exercise your body, whether you choose it or not, at a stated hour in heat and cold. You must drink no cold water, nor sometimes even wine. In a word, you must give yourself up to your master as to a physician. Then, in the combat, you may be thrown into a ditch, dislocate your arm, turn your ankle, swallow dust, be whipped, and, after all, lose the victory. When you have evaluated all this, if your inclination still holds, then go to war. Otherwise, take notice. You will behave like children who sometimes play like wrestlers, sometimes gladiators, sometimes blow a trumpet, and sometimes act a tragedy when they have seen and admired these shows. Thus, you too will be at one time a wrestler, at another a gladiator, now a philosopher, then an orator, but with your whole soul, nothing at all. Like an ape, you mimic all you see, and one thing after another, sure to please you, but is out of favor as soon as it becomes familiar. For you have never entered upon anything considerately, nor, after having viewed the whole matter on all sides, or made any scrutiny into it, but rashly, and with a cold inclination. Thus some, when they have seen a philosopher and heard a man speaking like Euphrates, though indeed, who can speak like him, have a mind to be philosophers too. Consider first, man, what the matter is, and what your own nature is able to bear. If you would be a wrestler, consider your shoulders, your back, your thighs, for different persons are made for different things. Do you think that you can act as you do and be a philosopher, that you can eat and drink and be angry and discontented as you are now? You must watch, you must labor, you must get the better of certain appetites, you must quit your acquaintance, be despised by your servant, be laughed at by those you meet, come off worse than others in everything, in magistracies and honors and courts of judicature. When you have considered all these things round, approach if you please. If by parting with them you have a mind to purchase apathy, freedom, and tranquility. If not, don't come here. Don't, like children, be one while a philosopher, then a publican, then an orator, then one of Caesar's officers. These things are not consistent. You must be one man, either good or bad. You must cultivate either your own ruling faculty or externals, and apply yourself either to things within or without you. That is, be either a philosopher or one of the vulgar. 30. Duties are universally measured by relations. Is anyone a father? If so, it is implied that the children should take care of him. Submit to him in everything, patiently listen to his reproaches, his correction. But he is a bad father. Are you naturally entitled then to a good father? No, only to a father. Is a brother unjust? Well, keep your own situation towards him. Consider not what he does, but what you are to do to keep your own faculty of choice in a state conformable to nature. For another will not hurt you unless you please. You will then be hurt when you think you are hurt. In this manner, therefore, you will find from the idea of a neighbor, a citizen, a general, the corresponding duties if you accustom yourself to contemplate the several relations. 31. Be assured that the essential property of piety towards the gods is to form right opinions concerning them, as existing and as governing the universe with goodness and justice. And fix yourself in this resolution, to obey them and yield to them and willingly follow them in all events as produced by the most perfect understanding. For thus, you will never find fault with the gods, nor accuse them as neglecting you. And it is not possible for this to be effected any other way than by withdrawing yourself from things not in our control, and placing good or evil in those only which are. For if you suppose any of the things not in our control to be either good or evil, when you are disappointed of what you wish or incur what you would avoid, you must necessarily find fault with and blame the authors. For every animal is naturally formed to fly and abhor things that appear hurtful and the causes of them, and to pursue and admire those which seem beneficial and the causes of them. It is impractical, then, that one who supposes himself to be hurt should be happy about the person who, he thinks, hurts him, just as it is impossible to be happy about the hurt itself. Hence, also, a father is reviled by the son when he does not impart to him the things which he takes to be good. And supposing empire to be a good, made Polyneices and Eteocles mutually enemies. On this account, the husbandman, the sailor, the merchant, on this account those who lose wives and children, revile the gods. For where interest is, there too is piety placed. So that whoever is careful to regulate his desires and aversions as he ought, is, by the very same means, careful of piety likewise. But it is also incumbent on everyone to offer libations and sacrifices and first fruits, conformably to the customs of his country, with purity, and not in a slovenly manner, nor negligently, nor sparingly, nor beyond his ability. 32. When you have recourse to divination, remember that you know not what the event will be, and you come to learn it of the diviner, but of what nature it is you know before you come, at least if you are a philosopher. For if it is among the things not in our control, it can by no means be either good or evil. Don't, therefore, bring either desire or aversion with you to the diviner, else you will approach him trembling. But first acquire a distinct knowledge that every event is indifferent and nothing to you, of whatever sort it may be. For it will be in your power to make a right use of it, and this no one can hinder. Then come with confidence to the gods as your counselors, and afterwards, when any counsel is given you, remember what counselors you have assumed, and whose advice you will neglect if you disobey. Come to the divination as Socrates prescribed, in cases of which the whole consideration relates to the event, and in which no opportunities are afforded by reason or any other art to discover the thing proposed to be learned. When, therefore, it is our duty to share the danger of a friend or of our country, we ought not to consult the oracle whether we will share it with them or not. For, though the diviner should forewarn you that the victims are unfavorable, this means no more than that either death or mutilation or exile is portended. But we have reason within us, and it directs, even with these hazards, to the greater diviner, the Pythian god, who cast out of the temple the person who gave no assistance to his friend while another was murdering him. 33. Immediately prescribe some character and form of conduct to yourself, which you may keep both alone and in company. Be for the most part silent, or speak merely what is necessary, and in few words. We may, however, enter, though sparingly, into discourse sometimes when occasion calls for it, but not on any of the common subjects of gladiators, of horse races, or athletic champions, or feasts, the vulgar topics of conversation, but principally not of men, so as either to blame or praise or make comparisons. If you are able, then, by your own conversation, bring over that of your company to proper subjects, but if you happen to be taken among strangers, be silent. Don't allow your laughter to be much, nor on many occasions, nor profuse. Avoid swearing, if possible, altogether, if not as far as you are able. Avoid public and vulgar entertainments, but if ever an occasion calls you to them, keep your attention upon the stretch, that you may not imperceptibly slide into vulgar manners. For be assured that if a person be ever so sound himself, yet, if his companion be infected, he who converses with him will be infected likewise. Provide things relating to the body no further than mere use, as meat, drink, clothing, house, family. But strike off, and reject everything relating to show and delicacy. As far as possible, before marriage, keep yourself pure from familiarities with women, and if you indulge them, let it be lawfully. But don't, therefore, be troublesome, full of reproofs to those who use these liberties, nor frequently boast that you yourself don't. If anyone tells you that such a person speaks ill of you, don't make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, he does not know my other faults, else he would not have mentioned only these. It is not necessary for you to appear often at public spectacles, but if ever there is a proper occasion for you to be there, don't appear more solicitous for anyone than for yourself. That is, wish things to be only just as they are, and him only to conquer who is the conqueror, for thus you will meet with no hindrance. But abstain entirely from declamations and derision and violent emotions. And when you come away, don't discourse a great deal on what is past, and what does not contribute to your own amendment, for it would appear by such discourse that you were immoderately struck with the show. Go not of your own accord to the rehearsals of any authors, nor appear at them readily. But if you do appear, keep your gravity and sedateness, and at the same time avoid being morose. When you are going to confer with anyone, and particularly those in a superior station, represent to yourself how Socrates or Zeno would behave in such a case, and you will not be at a loss to make proper use of whatever may occur. When you are going to any of the people in power, represent to yourself that you will not find him at home, that you will not be admitted, that the doors will not be opened for you, that he will take no notice of you. If, with all this, it is your duty to go, bear what happens, and never say to yourself, it was not worth so much. For this is vulgar, and like a man dazed by external things. In parties of conversation, avoid a frequent and excessive mention of your own actions and dangers. For however agreeable it may be to yourself to mention the risks you have run, it is not equally agreeable to others to hear your adventures. Avoid likewise an endeavor to excite laughter, for this is a slippery point which may throw you into vulgar manners, and besides, may be apt to lessen you in the esteem of your acquaintance. Approaches to indecent discourse are likewise dangerous. Whenever, therefore, anything of this sort happens, if there be a proper opportunity, rebuke him who makes advances that way, or at least, by silence and blushing and a forbidding look, show yourself to be displeased by such talk. 34. If you are struck by the appearance of any promised pleasure, guard yourself against being hurried away by it, but let the affair wait your leisure, and procure yourself some delay. Then bring to your mind both points of time, that in which you will enjoy the pleasure, and that in which you will repent and reproach yourself after you have enjoyed it, and set before you, in opposition to these, how you will be glad and applaud yourself if you abstain. And even though it should appear to you a seasonable gratification, take heed that its enticing and agreeable and attractive force may not subdue you, but said in opposition to this, how much better it is to be conscious of having gained so great a victory. 35. When you do anything from a clear judgment that it ought to be done, never shun the being seen to do it, even though the world should make a wrong supposition about it. For if you don't act right, shun the action itself. But if you do, why are you afraid of those who censure you wrongly? 36. As the proposition, either it is day or it is night, is extremely proper for a disjunctive argument, but quite improper in a conjunctive one. So, at a feast, to choose the largest share is very suitable to the bodily appetite, but utterly inconsistent with the social spirit of an entertainment. When you eat with another, then, remember not only the value of those things which are set before you to the body, but the value of that behavior which ought to be observed towards the person who gives the entertainment. 37. If you have assumed any character above your strength, you have both made an ill figure in that and quitted one which you might have supported. 38. When walking, you are careful not to step on a nail or turn your foot. So, likewise, be careful not to hurt the ruling faculty of your mind. And if we were to guard against this in every action, we should undertake the action with the greater safety. 39. The body is to everyone the measure of the possessions proper for it, just as the foot is of the shoe. If, therefore, you stop at this, you will keep the measure, but if you move beyond it, you must necessarily be carried forward as down a cliff, as in the case of a shoe. If you go beyond its fitness to the foot, it comes first to be gilded, then purple, and then studded with jewels. For to that which once exceeds a due measure, there is no bound. 40. Women from 14 years old are flattered with the title of mistresses by the men. Therefore, perceiving that they are regarded only as qualified to give the men pleasure, they begin to adorn themselves, and in that, to place ill their hopes. We should, therefore, fix our attention on making them sensible that they are valued for the appearance of decent, modest, and discreet behavior. 41. It is a mark of want of genius to spend much time in things relating to the body, as to be food or exercises, in eating and drinking, and in the discharge of other animal functions. These should be done incidentally and slightly, and our whole attention be engaged in the care of the understanding. 42. When any person harms you or speaks badly of you, remember that he acts or speaks from a supposition of its being his duty. Now, it is not possible that he should follow what appears right to you, but what appears so to himself. Therefore, if he judges from a wrong appearance, he is the person hurt, since he too is the person deceived. For if anyone should suppose a true proposition to be false, the proposition is not hurt, but he who is deceived about it. Setting out then from these principles, you will meekly bear a person who reviles you, for you will say upon every occasion, it seems so to him. 43. Everything has two handles, the one by which it may be carried, the other by which it cannot. If your brother acts unjustly, don't lay hold on the action by the handle of his injustice, for by that it cannot be carried, but the opposite, that he is your brother, that he was brought up with you, and thus you will lay hold on it as it is to be carried. 44. These reasonings are unconnected. I am richer than you, therefore I am better. I am more eloquent than you, therefore I am better. The connection is rather this: I am richer than you, therefore my property is greater than yours. I am more eloquent than you, therefore my style is better than yours. But you, after all, are neither property nor style. 45. Does anyone bathe in a mighty little time? Don't say that he does it ill, but in a mighty little time. Does anyone drink a great quantity of wine? Don't say that he does ill, but that he drinks a great quantity. For unless you perfectly understand the principle from which anyone acts, how should you know if he acts ill? Thus, you will not run the hazard of assenting to any appearances but such as you fully comprehend. 46. Never call yourself a philosopher, nor talk a great deal among the unlearned about theorems, but act conformably to them. Thus, at an entertainment, don't talk how persons ought to eat, but eat as you ought. For remember that in this manner Socrates also universally avoided all ostentation. And when persons came to him and desired to be recommended by him to philosophers, he took and recommended them, so well did he bear being overlooked. But that if ever any talk should happen among the unlearned concerning philosophic theorems, be you, for the most part, silent. For there is great danger in immediately throwing out what you have not digested. And if anyone tells you that you know nothing, and you are not nettled at it, then you may be sure that you have begun your business. For sheep don't throw up the grass to show the shepherds how much they've eaten, but, inwardly digesting their food, they outwardly produce wool and milk. Thus, therefore, do you likewise not show theorems to the unlearned, but the actions produced by them after they have been digested. 47. When you have brought yourself to supply the necessities of your body at a small price, don't pique yourself upon it, nor, if you drink water, be saying upon every occasion, I drink water. But first, consider how much more sparing and patient of hardship the poor are than we. But if at any time you would inure yourself by exercise to labor and bearing hard trials, do it for your own sake and not for the world. Don't grasp statues. But when you are violently thirsty, take a little cold water in your mouth and spurt it out and tell nobody. 48. The condition and characteristic of a vulgar person is that he never expects either benefit or hurt from himself, but from externals. The condition and characteristic of a philosopher is that he expects all hurt and benefit from himself. The marks of a proficient are that he censures no one, praises no one, blames no one, accuses no one, says nothing concerning himself as being anybody or knowing anything. When he is in any instance hindered or restrained, he accuses himself, and if he is praised, he secretly laughs at the person who praises him, and if he is censured, he makes no defense. But he goes about with the caution of sick or injured people, dreading to move anything that is set right before it is perfectly fixed. He suppresses all desire in himself. He transfers his aversion to those things only which thwart the proper use of our own faculty of choice. The exertion of his active powers towards anything is very gentle. If he appears stupid or ignorant, he does not care, and, in a word, he watches himself as an enemy, and one in ambush. 49. When anyone shows himself overly confident in ability to understand and interpret the works of Chrysippus, say to yourself, unless Chrysippus had written obscurely, this person would have had no subject for his vanity. But what do I desire? To understand nature and follow her. I ask then, who interprets her, and finding Chrysippus does? I have recourse to him. I don't understand his writings. I seek, therefore, one to interpret them. So far, there is nothing to value myself upon, and when I find an interpreter, what remains is to make use of his instructions. This alone is the valuable thing. But if I admire nothing but merely the interpretation, what do I become more than a grammarian instead of a philosopher? Except, indeed, that instead of Homer, I interpret Chrysippus. When anyone, therefore, desires me to read Chrysippus to him, I rather blush when I cannot show my actions agreeable and consonant to his discourse. 50.
Okay, I'm going to create some clips here. You were just listening to Epictetus, not Epictetus, Epictetus, who is a philosopher, a Stoic philosopher who predates Marcus Aurelius. Oh, shit. Okay, this is going to be a 3-minute reading. Here we go. Remember that not the love of power and wealth sets us under the heels of others, but even the love of tranquility, of leisure, of change of scene, of learning in general. It matters not what the outward thing may be. To set store by it is to place thyself in subjection to another. What is the difference then between desiring to be a senator and desiring not to be one? Between thirsting for office and thirsting to be quit of it? Where is the difference between crying, woe is me, I know not what to do, bound hand and foot, as I am to my book, so that I cannot stir, and crying, woe is me, I have not time to read, as though a book were not as much an outward thing and independent of the will as office and power and the receptions of the great. Or what reason hast thou, tell me, for desiring to read? For if thou aim at nothing beyond the mere delight of it, or gaining some scrap of knowledge, thou art but a poor, spiritless knave. But if thou desirest to study its proper end, what else is this than a life that flows untranquil and serene? And if thy reading secures thee not serenity, what profits it? Nay, but it doth secure it, quoth he, and that is why I repine at being deprived of it. And what serenity is this that lies at the mercy of every passer-by? I say not at the mercy of the emperor or emperor's favorite, but such as trembles at a raven's croak and piper's din, a fever's touch, or 1,000 things of like sort. Whereas the life serene has no more certain mark than this, than it ever moves with constant, unimpeded flow. If thou hast put malice and evil speaking from thee altogether, or in some degree, if thou hast put away from thee rashness, foulness of tongue, intemperance, sluggishness, if thou art not moved by what once moved thee, or in like manner as thou once wert moved, then thou mayst celebrate a daily festival. Today, because thou hast done well in this matter, tomorrow in that. How much greater cause is here for offering sacrifice than if a man should become consul or prefect? These things hast thou from thyself and from the gods. Only remember who it is that giveth them, to whom and for what purpose they were given. Feeding thy soul on thoughts like these, dost thou debate in what place happiness awaits thee? In what place thou shalt do God's pleasure? Are not the gods nigh unto all places alike? See they not alike what everywhere comes to pass? Do each man remember that not the love of power and wealth sets us under the heels of others, but even the love of tranquility, of leisure, of change of scene, of learning. So we'll call that Epictetus Books, Philosophy and Serenity.
Book 2, Among the Quadi and the Granura. Begin the morning by saying to thyself, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. All these things happen to them by a reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil. But I, who have seen the nature of the good, that it is beautiful, and of the bad.
Remember that not the love of power and wealth sets us under the heels of others, but even the love of tranquility, of leisure, of change of scene, of learning in general. It matters not what the outward thing may be, to set store by it is to place thyself in subjection to another. What is the difference then between desiring to be a senator and desiring not to be one? Between thirsting for office and thirsting to be quit of it? Where is the difference between crying, woe is me, I know not what to do, bound hand and foot, as I am to my book, so that I cannot stir, and crying, woe is me, I have not time to read, as though a book were not as much an outward thing and independent of the will as office and power and the receptions of the great. What reason hast thou, tell me, for desiring to read? For if thou aim at nothing beyond the mere delight of it, or gaining some scrap of knowledge, thou art but a poor, spiritless knave. But if thou desirest to study its proper end, what else is this than a life that flows untranquil and serene? And if thy reading secures thee not serenity, what profits it? Nay, but it doth secure it, quoth he, and that is why I repine in being deprived of it. What serenity is this that lies at the mercy of every passerby? I say not at the mercy of the emperor or emperor's favorite, but such as trembles at a raven's croak and piper's din, a fever's touch, or 1,000 things of like sort. Whereas the life serene has no more certain mark than this, than it ever moves with constant, unimpeded flow. If thou hast put malice and evil speaking from thee altogether, or in some degree, if thou hast put away from thee rashness, foulness of tongue, intemperance, sluggishness, if thou art not moved by what once moved thee, or in like manner as thou once wert moved, then thou mayst celebrate a daily festival. Today, because thou hast done well in this matter, tomorrow in that. How much greater cause is here for offering sacrifice than if a man should become consul or prefect? These things hast thou from thyself and from the gods. Only remember who it is that giveth them, to whom and for what purpose they were given. Feeding thy soul on thoughts like these, dost thou debate in what place happiness awaits thee? In what place thou shalt do God's pleasure? Are not the gods nigh unto all places alike? See they not alike what everywhere comes to pass? Okay, this is the wisdom of Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius.
Power line that we can set up that everyone will be happy with, that both of us can put an army on and say, nobody should use that weapon. This is final jest.
Okay, so since you framed it that way, I had to just kind of push back. But
What's your angry
so what do I want?
Reading a book on wasting a number, how to stop wasting a moment or all pathetic. Okay, this is Wisdom Book by Titus Marcus Aurelius. Okay, Adrian, I'm going to restart this. Okay, everybody, this is the wisdom of Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. This is your friend, Adrian Dittman. Fragments of Epictetus. Life entangled with fortune is like a torrent. It is turbulent and muddy, hard to pass, and masterful of mood, noisy, and of brief continuance. The soul that companies with virtue is like an ever-flowing source. It is a pure, clear, and wholesome draught, sweet, rich, and generous of its store, that injures not, neither destroys. It is a shame that one who sweetens his drink with the gifts of the bee should embitter God's gift, reason, with vice. Crows pick out the eyes of the dead, when the dead have no longer need of them, but flatterers mar the soul of the living, and her eyes they blind. Keep neither a blunt knife, nor an ill-disciplined looseness of tongue. Nature hath given men one tongue, but 2 ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak. Do not give sentence in another tribunal till you have been yourself judged in the tribunal of justice. It is shameful for a judge to be judged by others. Give me by all means the shorter and nobler life, instead of one that is longer but of less account. Freedom is the name of virtue, slavery of vice. None is a slave whose acts are free. Of pleasures, those which occur most rarely give the most delight. Exceed due measure, and the most delightful things become the least delightful. The anger of an ape, the threat of a flatterer, these deserve equal regard. Chastise thy passions that they avenge not themselves upon thee. No man is free who is not master of himself. A ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope. Fortify thyself with contentment. This is an impregnable stronghold. No man who is a lover of money, of pleasure, of glory, is likewise a lover of men, but only he that is a lover of whatsoever things are fair and good. Think of God more often than thou breathest. Choose the life that is noblest, for custom can make it sweet to thee. Let thy speech of God be renewed day by day, aye, rather than thy meat and drink. Even as the sun doth not wait for prayers and incantations to rise, but shines forth and is welcomed by all, So thou also wait not for clapping of hands and shouts and praise to do thy duty, nay, do good of thine own accord, and thou wilt be loved like the sun.
Fragments of Epictetus.
Fragments of Epictetus. A life entangled with fortunes like
It is turbulent and muddy, hard to pass and masterful. The soul.
What up, Alan? I'm reading Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, and I'm creating YouTube shorts.
The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all constituted authority, all power. The disciple of the beast must attend all meetings held in the open when the moon is at the full. The beast has supremacy over all.
Okay, that's from the book Satanic Extracts by Aleister Crowley. I read that yesterday. It's got 200 views, and I titled it Mr. Beast Poem at Mr. Beast, the famous YouTube creator. So keywords matter in terms of getting views. So I had a failure on one of my phones here. It's not working. Two failures. Very annoying. I have a big difficulty getting like shit off of my fucking Apple phone. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but like getting videos and pictures off of your fucking phone is like next to impossible. It's really stupid. Can't do it at mass, can't export. I really hate Apple in many ways. I think their software sucks compared to Android. It's like you can tell that they're so uniquely different in the way that they interact with apps. Maybe sometimes better than worse, but with YouTube and stuff, it's vastly different experience. Much slower, which is kind of funny. You could have the latest iPhone and it's so much fucking slower with regards to functionality with YouTube. Okay, we're going to read another verse from Epic Tits, aka Epic Titties. It's raining outside here in Chicago. I'm sipping coffee, smoking a little ganja. I can't complain. Some people have to be in office at work, getting ready for retirement, saving all that money, wasting away in a cubicle, their bodies falling apart moment by moment. Okay. Okay, this is the fragments of Epic Tits. We're going to read the second half. Here we go. Think of God more often than thou breathest. Choose the life that is noblest, for custom can make it sweet to thee. Let thy speech of God be renewed day by day, aye, rather than thy meat and drink. Even as the sun doth not wait for prayers and incantations to rise, but shines forth and is welcomed by all, so thou also wait not for clapping of hands and shouts and praise to do thy duty. Nay, do good of thine own accord, and thou wilt be loved like the sun. Let no man think that he is loved by any who loveth none. If thou rememberest that God standeth by to behold and visit all that thou doest, whether in the body or in the soul, thou surely wilt not err in any prayer or deed, and thou shalt have God to dwell with thee. Okay, this is called the Hymn of Cleanthes. Chiefest glory of deathless gods, almighty forever, sovereign of nature that rulest by law, what name shall we give thee? Blessed be thou, for on thee should call all things that are mortal, for that we are thine offspring, nay, all that in myriad motion lives for its day on the earth bears one impress thy likeness upon it. Wherefore my song is of thee, and I hymn thy power forever. Lo, the vast orb of the worlds round the earth evermore as it rolleth, feels thee its ruler and guide, and owns thy lordship, rejoicing. I, for thy conquering hands, have a servant of living fire. Sharp is the bolt, where it falls, nature shrinks at the shock and doth shudder. Thus thou directest the word universal that pulses through all things, mingling its life with lights that are great and lights that are lesser. E'en as beseemeth its birth, high king, through ages unending. Naught is done that is done without thee, in the earth or the waters or in the heights of heaven, save the deed of the fool and the sinner. Thou canst make rough things smooth at thy voice, low jarring disorder moveth to music, and love is born where hatred abounded. Thus hast thou fitted alike things good and things evil together, that over all might reign one reason, supreme and eternal. Though thereunto the hearts of the wicked be hardened, and heedless, woe unto them. often than thou breathest. Think of God more often than thou breathest. Choose the life that is noblest. For custom. Okay, Danny, what's up? Hello. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm uploading these to YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw. It's a waste of time. Okay, gonna film just the hymn to Cleanthes. All right, I don't know if I can read the whole thing in 3 minutes. I could try to read it pretty quickly. Okay, here we go. Okie dokie, here we go-key. The hymn to Cleanthes. Chiefest glory of deathless gods almighty forever, sovereign of nature that rulest by law, what name shall we give thee? Blessed be thou, for on thee should go all things that are mortal, for that we are thine offspring, nay, all that in the myriad motion lives for its day on the earth bears one impress thy likeness upon it. Wherefore my song is of thee, and I hymn thy power forever. Lo, the vast orb of the worlds round the earth evermore as it rolleth, feels thee its ruler and guide, and knows thy lordship, rejoicing I. For thy conquering hands have a servant of living fire, sharp is the bolt. Where it falls, nature shrinks at the shock and doth shudder. Thus thou directest the word universal that pulses through all things, mingling its life with lights that are great and lights that are lesser. E'en as beseemeth its birth, high king through ages unending. Naught is done that is done without thee, in the earth or the waters or in the heights of heaven, save the deed of the fool and the sinner. Thou canst make rough things smooth at thy voice low, jarring disorder moveth to music, and love is born where hatred abounded. Thus hast thou fitted alike things good and things evil together, that over all might reign one reason, supreme and eternal. Thou that unto the hearts of the wicked be hardened and heedless, woe unto them! For while ever their hands are grasping at good things, blind are their eyes, yea, stopped are their ears to God's law universal, calling through wise obedience to live the life that is noble. This they mark not, but heedless of right, turn each to his own way, here hard-fired with ambition in strife and straining and hallowed, there thrusting honor aside, fast set upon getting and gaining, others again given over to lusts and dissolute softness, working never God's law, but that which warreth upon it. Nay, but O giver of all things good, whose home is the dark cloud, thou that wieldest heaven's bolt, save men from their ignorance grievous, scatter its night from their souls, and grant them to come to that wisdom, wherewithal, sistered with justice, thou rulest and governest all things, that we honored by thee may requite thee with worship and honor, evermore praising thy works as is meet for men that shall perish, seeing that none, be he mortal or God, hath privilege nobler than without stint, without stay, to extol thy law universal. That is the hymn to Cleanthes. The hymn to Cleanthes. The hymn to Cleanthes. Deepest glory of deathless gods. The hymn to Cleanthes. Okay, what'd you think, Danny?
Bueno, Shabala. Morning meditation. Morning meditation.
Modesty and a man. Book 4. 1. That which rules within, when it is according to nature, is so affected with respect to the events which happened, that it always easily adapts itself to that which is possible and is presented to it. For it requires no definite material, but it moves towards its purpose, under certain conditions, however, and it makes a material for itself out of that which opposes it, as fire lays hold of what falls into it, by which a small light would have been extinguished. But when the fire is strong, it soon appropriates to itself the matter which is heaped on it, and consumes it, and rises higher by means of this very material. 2. Let no act be done without a purpose, nor otherwise than according to the perfect principles of art. 3. Men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores, and mountains, and thou too art wont to desire such things very much. But this is altogether a mark of the most common sort of men, for it is in thy power, whenever thou shalt choose, to retire into thyself. For nowhere, either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble, does a man retire than into his own soul, particularly when he has within him such thoughts that by looking into them he is immediately in perfect tranquillity. And I affirm that tranquillity is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind. Constantly then give thyself this retreat, and renew thyself, and let thy principles be brief and fundamental, which, as soon as thou shalt recur to them, will be sufficient to cleanse the soul completely, and to send thee back free from all discontent with the things which thou returnest. For with what art thou discontented? With the badness of men? Recall to thy mind this conclusion, that rational animals exist for one another, and that to endure is a part of justice, and that men do wrong involuntarily. And consider how many of...
A hymn to Cleanthes. To Cleanthes. Chiefest glory of deathless gods, almighty forever, sovereign of nature that rulest by law, what name shall we give thee? Blessed be thou, for on thee should go all things that are mortal, for that we are thine offspring, nay, all that in the myriad motion lives for its day on the earth bears one impress thy likeness upon it. Wherefore my song is of thee, and I hymn thy power forever. Lo, the vast orb of the worlds round the earth evermore as it rolleth, feels thee its ruler and guide, and knows thy lordship rejoicing. I, for thy conquering hands have a servant of living fire, sharp is the bolt, where it falls nature shrinks, and the shark and doth shudder. Thus thou directest the word universal that pulses through all things, mingling its life with lights that are great and lights that are lesser. E'en as beseemeth its birth, high keying through ages unending. Naught is done that is done without thee, in the earth or the waters or in the heights of heaven, save the deed of the fool and the sinner. Thou canst make rough things smooth at thy voice, low jarring disorder moveth to music, and love is born where hatred abounded. Thus hast thou fitted alike things good and things evil together, that over all might reign one reason, supreme and eternal, thou that unto the hearts of the wicked be hardened and heedless, woe unto them. For while ever their hands are grasping at good things, blind are their eyes, yea, stopped are their ears to God's law universal, calling through wise obedience to live the life that is noble. This they mark not, but heedless of right turn each to his own way, here heart fired with ambition in strife and straining and hallowed. There thrusting honor aside, fast set upon getting and gaining, others again given over to lusts and dissolute softness, working never God's law, but that which warreth upon it. Nay, but O giver of all things good, whose home is the dark cloud, thou that wieldest heaven's bolt, save men from their ignorance grievous, scatter its night from their souls, and grant them to come to that wisdom, wherewithal, sistered with justice, thou rulest and governest all things, that we honored by thee may requite thee with worship and honor, evermore praising thy works as is meet for men that shall perish, seeing that none be immortal or God hath privilege nobler, than without stint, without stay, to extol thy law universal. That is the hymn to Cleanthes. The hymn to Cleanthes. Chiefest glory of deathless gods, almighty forever, sovereign of nature that rulest by law, what name shall we give thee? Blessed be thou, for on thee should go all things that are mortal, for that we are thine offspring, nay, all that in the myriad motion lives for its day on the earth bears one impress thy likeness upon it. Wherefore my song is of thee, and I hymn thy power forever. Lo, the
The vast orb of the worlds, round the earth evermore as it rolleth, feels thee its ruler and guide, and knows thy lordship rejoicing. Aye, for thy conquering hands have a servant of living fire, sharp is the bolt. Where it falls, nature shrinks, and the sharkened doth shudder. Thus thou directest the word universal that pulses through all things, mingling its life with lights that are great and lights that are lesser. Eyen as beseemeth its birth, high king through ages unending. Naught is done that is done without thee, in the earth or the waters or in the heights of heaven, save the deed of the fool and the sinner. Thou canst make rough things smooth at thy voice, low jarring disorder moveth to music, and love is born where hatred abounded. Thus hast thou fitted alike things good and things evil together, that over all might reign one reason, supreme and eternal. Thou that unto the hearts of the wicked be hardened and heedless, woe unto them. For while ever their hands are grasping at good things, blind are their eyes, yea, stopped are their ears to God's law universal, calling through wise obedience to live the life that is noble. This they mark not, but heedless of right, turn each to his own way. Here heart fired with ambition in strife and straining and hallowed, there thrusting honor aside, fast set upon getting and gaining, others again given over to lusts and dissolute softness, working never God's law, but that which warreth upon it. Nay, but O giver of all things good, whose home is the dark cloud, thou that wieldest heaven's bolt, save men from their ignorance grievous, scatter its night from their souls, and grant them to come to that wisdom, wherewithal, sistered with justice, thou rulest and governest all things, that we honored by thee may requite thee with worship and honor, evermore praising thy works as is meet for men that shall perish, seeing that none be immortal or God hath privilege nobler than without stint, without stay, to extol thy law universal. That is the hymn to Cleanthes. The hymn to Cleanthes. Chiefest glory of deathless gods, almighty forever, sovereign of nature that rulest by law, what name shall we give thee? Blessed be thou, for on thee should call all things that are mortal, for that we are thine offspring, nay, all that in the myriad motion lives for its day on the earth bears one impress thy likeness upon it. Wherefore my song is of thee, and I hymn thy power forever. Lo, the vast orb of the worlds, round the earth evermore as it rolleth, feels thee its ruler and guide, and knows thy lordship rejoicing. Aye, for thy conquering hands have a servant of living fire, sharp is the bolt. Where it falls, nature shrinks, and the sharkened doth shudder. Thus thou directest the word universal that pulses through all things, mingling its life with lights that are great and lights that are lesser. Eyen as beseemeth its birth, high king through ages unending. Naught is done that is done without thee, in the earth or the waters or in the heights of heaven, save the deed of the fool and the sinner. Thou canst make rough things smooth at thy voice, low jarring disorder moveth to music, and love is born where hatred abounded. Thus hast thou fitted alike things good and things evil together, that over all might reign one reason, supreme and eternal. Thou that unto the hearts of the wicked be hardened and heedless, woe unto them. For while ever their hands are grasping at good things, blind are their eyes, yea, stopped are their ears to God's law universal, calling through wise obedience to live the life that is noble. This they mark not, but heedless of right, turn each to his own way. Here heart fired with ambition in strife and straining and hallowed, there thrusting honor aside, fast set upon getting and gaining, others again given over to lusts and dissolute softness, working never God's law, but that which warreth upon it. Nay, but O giver of all things good, whose home is the dark cloud, thou that wieldest heaven's bolt, save men from their ignorance grievous, scatter its night from their souls, and grant them to come to that wisdom, wherewithal, sistered with justice, thou rulest and governest all things, that we honored by thee may requite thee with worship and honor, praising thy works as is meet for men that shall perish, seeing that none be immortal or God hath privilege nobler, than without stint, without stay, to extol thy law universal. That is the hymn to Cleanthes. The hymn to Cleanthes. Jesus, glory of deathless gods, almighty forever, sovereign of nature that rulest by law, what name shall we give thee? Blessed be thou, for on thee should go all things that are mortal, for that we are thine offspring, nay, all that in the myriad motion lives for its day on the earth bears one impress thy likeness upon it. Wherefore my song is of thee, and thy hymn thy power forever. Lo, the vast orb of the worlds round the earth evermore as it rolleth, feels thee its ruler and guide, and knows thy lordship, rejoicing I, for thy conquering hands have a servant of living fire, sharp is the bolt, where it falls nature shrinks, and the shark doth shudder. Thus thou directest the word universal that pulses through all things, mingling its life with lights that are great and lights that are lesser. Ein as beseemeth its birth, high king through ages unending, not as done. What up, Zach? Okay, that was a reading of the hymn to Cleanthes, or the hymn to God by Cleanthes, which is a Stoic prayer.
Yes, Earth Moon.
Are you done being irascible this morning, Zach? Are you ready to engage Toira?
Yeah, I'm very ready.
What'd you say?
I guess
I said I'm very ready.
I don't think I was being irascible. I was just in the discussing Israel with morons.
Yeah. Well, basically, if everything is hypnosis, and it basically,
listen to a moron, you're a moron.
well, if you go into Diego's court and you think you're going to gain anything by going in there, you're really stupid, because it's really stupid hypnosis. I'm not saying that
Diego, more like D-Gago.
I'm not saying that they're not nice people, but I'm just saying they are very stupid. So, and I've heard Princessia speak at length, and she's like a little girl, so if you're going to spend your morning listening to little girls, I guess that must mean you're a little girl. Welcome, Danny, a.k.a. Alan.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, Zach was in there. Diego was being crazy. I was just listening to the conversation, but Adrian, what is wrong with Diego?
I think he's got a lot to worry about because he's stupid.
He doesn't like Jews. Everybody's got their thing. Look, there are many things that you could have be your thing, or then you just have the one thing. And the one thing is basically also nothing. And it's everything. And if that's your thing, nothing and everything, then really you can connect with anybody.
Yeah.
And you can love everybody. But if that's not your thing, basically any other thing other than that is F-word, N-word, JDS, TDS, your mama, who eat the pussy good.
I think you had it all going until the very end. You got quite irascible at the very end. But everything else up to that, I thought was good. But I know you want to get your lick back.
Irascible.
You want to get
That's
your lick back.
That's the catchphrase. That's the bumper sticker.
Yeah, if you go back into Princessia's room and say you're being irascible, and she'll say, what? What is that word? Look at my big tits. Look at my fat ass. Free Palestine. Look at my fat ass. Free Palestine. Look at my juicy tits. Free Palestine. Look at my cute face and beautiful hair. Free Palestine. From the river to the sea, my people will be free. So I have this Israeli flag on my YouTube live in my background, and people come in and constantly just write "Free Palestine, Free Palestine, Free Palestine, Free Palestine, Free Palestine," and they're making fun of my bald head nonstop. And in fact, I really like the hate. If my bald head causes people to write me messages about how ugly I am or how much they hate my bald head or the reflection of the light, to me, that's like my skin, my head, causing people to communicate with me because of the reflection of the light from my head, which is essentially a metaphor for saying that if you're watching me, you're wasting your time and you're stupid. And I want to thank you. Anyways, I'm really becoming irascible and going on a tangent. We've been doing such incredible work this morning. We are engaging Toira, wisdom. I've changed my other Adrian Dittman account to Wisdom Books, where I will, again, try to focus and not waste my time on this app. I will read and use my time usefully and strategically, because we all know that we only have so much time. So if we come here and we analyze the time that we spend here and the things that you're listening to. Exactly. So somebody on my YouTube said, I like just listening to the things you're listening to.
All right. It is the business of the very few to be independent. It is a privilege of the strong. And whoever attempts it, even with the best right, but without being obliged to do so, proves that he is probably not only strong, but also daring beyond measure. He enters into a labyrinth. He multiplies 1,000-fold the dangers which life in itself already brings.
A hymn to Cleanthes. Chiefest glory of deathless gods, almighty forever, sovereign of nature that rulest by law, what name shall we give thee? Blessed be thou, for on thee should call all things that are mortal, for that we are thine offspring, thee, all that in the myriad motion lives for its day on the earth, bears one impress thy likeness upon it. Wherefore my song is of thee, and thy hymn thy power forever. Lo, the vast orb of the worlds round the earth evermore as it rolleth, feels thee its ruler and guide, and knows thy lordship rejoicing. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, do you have Tanya?
Not on me.
What do you have on you?
My phone.
Oh, you don't have a book?
I can go get a book, but,
Well, this is a Toira. I need you to be my Havruta study partner here, not like, a simp gimp. You sound like you have no energy. You sound like you have no courage. You sound like a deflated Talmud Chacham who needs a...
Maybe it's this picture. The picture is not doing it for you.
It's disgusting,
You don't think it's funny?
Those grippers with tattoos on the fingers, I've seen that in the real world, and I gotta say, she don't work at Walgreens anymore, but that chick was, she had all these planet tattoos on her. She was all tatted up. I don't know what she was into. Did you like
it? Here, John, this is one of the people who called me a white supremacist, this person, PTR.
Let's see.
She called me out as a white supremacist.
Oh, her nose is pierced? Yeah. You are on native land. God, what happened to her? Where do you think her programming came from? Mainstream media? And that's it? Because that's what I think. If there's no independent research or any kind of academic, experience into, natives or anything like that. Look at her. She's probably German, right? Or some...
CRT is strong. CRT is strong.
Yeah, well, CRT is technically history revisionism or history hypnosis. That's what CRT is.
How many CRT classes she's taking?
I don't know. She looks a little older. Anyways, let's stay on topic here. This is a Toira study room, a wisdom room. I would like to engage the Torah because the Shekhinah is coming quickly. Shabbos is nearly here. Somebody said they're going to send me money. That's nice. Go to buymecoffee.com/Adrian Dittman and send me $5. Okay. Also, anyways, let's move on. Zach, anything else you want to read before I read something? And Alan, do you have a book you can read to us today? I think you need more help than most of us.
Yes, I have a book.
Okay, what are you gonna what are you gonna read? What are you gonna read?
Well, I don't have it on me right now.
Okay, then later. Okay, this is the hymn to Cleanthes. I, for thy conquering hands, have a servant of living fire. Sharp is the bolt, where it falls, nature shrinks, and the shark doth shudder. Thus thou directest the word universal that pulses through all things, mingling its life with lights that are great and lights that are lesser. Ein as beseemeth its birth, thy king through ages unending. Naught is done that is done without thee, in the earth or the waters or in the heights of heaven, save the deed of the fool and the sinner. Thou canst make rough things smooth at thy voice, low jarring disorder moveth to music, and love is born where hatred abounded. Thus hast thou fitted alike things good and things evil together, that over all might reign one reason, supreme and eternal, thou that unto the hearts of the wicked be hardened and heedless, woe unto them. For while ever their hands are grasping at good things, blind are their eyes, yea, stopped are their ears to God's law universal, calling through wise obedience to live the life that is noble. This they mark not, but heedless of right turn each to his own way. Here heart fired with ambition in strife and straining and hallowed, there thrusting honor aside, fast set upon getting and gaining, others again given over to lusts and dissolute softness, working never God's law, but that which warreth upon it. Nay, but O giver of all things good, whose home is the dark cloud, thou that wieldest heaven's bow, save men from their ignorance grievous, scatter its night from their souls, and grant them to come to that wisdom, wherewithal, sistered with justice, thou rulest and governest all things, that we honored by thee may requite thee with worship and honor, evermore praising thy works as is meet for men that shall perish, seeing that none be immortal or God hath privilege nobler, than without stint, without stay, to extol thy law universal. Okay, that was Hymn to Cleanthes. We just read it. So welcome back. We just started 2 new YouTube lives. Alan, do you want to come up and say anything? And Zach, let me know if you want to grab your Tanya, and we'll do a tit for tat Tanya. And then we'll do like a Tao Tanya Tao. We can do a room in your house and we can read Tao and Tanya. Let me know when you're back if you can hear this. And thank you, Alan, for being such a great listener. I really encourage you to read a book with us soon. Grab yourself a good wisdom book and then read with us for about 3 minutes. Even if you stutter like a stutterer, it doesn't matter. We'll be patient, Alan. The whole point is in getting you to read.